As far back as I can remember, I've always played music. From the time I was probably 10 moving forward. I've always played something. My dad was a drummer. So if nothing else, we played his drums. We always had like a drum set at our house. My dad had this old, well back then it wasn't old, it was a 1970s, maybe 60s, white, what were they called? Pearl? Maybe they were Ludwig's. I don't remember the exact brand. But he had this big white drum set with huge toms, floor toms, big cymbals, maybe a big bass drum, snare, and we would sit back there as little kids and just tap on it. And then my older brother, Jeremy, he was 3 years older than me. So when I was, say 10, he was 13, and he started playing instruments, guitars, had musician friends. And they started coming over to the house to hang out and play their instruments. They brought guitars, and I can remember being a little boy and sneaking in my brother's room after they had left. He and his friends had all left for a while, and I snuck in and had access to all this equipment. Amps, guitars, stuff that I wasn't supposed to touch. And I would go in there, and of course, right when they left, I was in there playing all their guitars, changing all their settings. And I'm sure if they had ever known, they would have killed me, but it set the bug in me, and soon I was playing drums myself, playing a little bit of guitar myself, and I even started writing songs. And I'll never forget my first lyrics I ever wrote. I was probably 11, but the lyrics went right like this. It went, when I was a young man, something about, now I'm an old man, just about 21. And to me, 21 was an old man at that point. It's the funny thing about age. When you're 12, 21 is an old man. When you're 21, 40 is an old man. When you're 40, 80 is an old man. It just changes. When you're 6, a 12-year-old is an old man. But I remember that line because I asked my brother, I said, is it okay if I say this line, now I'm a young man, now I'm an old man, just about a 21, some song? And he said, yeah, that's fine. He said, because you're just telling a story. It doesn't have to be exactly about you. I'll never forget that. I said, okay, cool. And I finished the song. And it was the first song I ever wrote. I don't remember the guitar part, but I'm sure it was something terrible. Or something. But it just went on from there. I joined my brother's band. I forced him to let me in the band at one point. He and his friend Sean Guinness, shout out to Sean if you're out there, or Shanna, his sister. They had a band called Midnight, and I convinced them to let me be their drummer. They needed a drummer. I said I could do it. And Jeremy, my older brother, let me in, and then he proceeded to put me through death boot camp of playing in a band with the older boys. So there are cassette recordings of our practices that maybe still exist somewhere. They've floated around for years. But in one of them, and this is so stereotypical of my older brother's behavior back then, he's telling me to play a drum line, an intro to the song. All I had to do was go bum 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 bum, and the song starts, right? But I couldn't, for some reason, get the da 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 da. I just could not play it right. I was like 11 years old or something, and I couldn't get my hands to play it right. And he's screaming at me. He goes, "Look, dude, it's not too hard. Just go like this. Da 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 da." And my little kid voice, I'm like, "I'm trying, but I can't." He's like, just do it, you idiot. I'm like, boop, 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 crash. I finally get it. We kick into the song, and it definitely went. I used to know you. Say your name. Da 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 da. Video game. I'm so lost, lost without you. That was it, for sure. Please come back to me. I can't believe I just remembered that. I haven't played that in 100 years. That's just off the top of my head. But my brother actually wrote pretty catchy songs back then when he was 13. There's another one called I Want You that was really fucking catchy. There was one called The Battle Rages On that I will never forget. Anyway, I still like that song. There's like 5 songs that were really good. What happened was I got the bug. I wanted to sing. He knew I could sing. My parents had discovered that I could sing. I was singing Annie songs from the movie Annie. And I wanted him to let me sing, and he wouldn't. He was the singer. He was the lead guitarist. He was in the front. He had the microphone. That's the way our relationship was. Jeremy was in charge. I was the employee. Like, he told me what to play, and thank God, because he was way more talented musically than I was. But over time, I finally begged him enough, and I said, look, I want to sing harmonies. Let me be a backup singer. Just let me sing. Please let me sing in this band. Like, this will change my life. Let me sing. Let me sing backups. He finally said, okay, Malan, you can sing backups. And I was overjoyed, man. I was so happy. I was in this cool band with these cool older kids, and you know, we played a party. I almost lost my mind. I thought I was a rock star and we were going to be millionaires. I couldn't believe it. There was no separation between playing a middle school party in Sean's Den and playing Madison Square Garden. To me, those were the same 2 things. There was no difference in my kid brain. There was no difference. So he let me sing backups. I was thrilled. I said, well, give me my mic, right? And he said, well, you don't need a mic. I said, what do you mean? He said, you don't need a microphone. I said, well, I'm going to sing harmonies, right? I'm going to sing harmonies, right? He said, you don't need a mic. Just sing. We can hear you, man. We can hear you, Malan. And my heart broke. I was like, he's screwing me over here. Like, I'm getting screwed over. And sure enough, we kick into the song, and I just start singing harmonies with no mic, on my own, behind the drums. I'm playing the drums, screaming harmonies as loud as I can project. And I was like, okay, they're going to hear me. They are going to hear me. Mic or no mic, I'm going to be heard, I'm going to be singing, and they're going to hear me. And I learned to sing really loud to where you could hear me over the drums, the guitars, the bass, the amps, everything. You could hear my vocals coming through. And everybody was like, damn, like we can, you know, Jeremy was like, wow, I can hear you. Like, I can hear you. I was like, I know, I can hear me too. My voice is loud as shit. And I learned to sing loud. And that's something that stuck with me my entire life. Almost every recording studio I ever went into, the engineer at some point would say, you have the loudest voice I've ever heard in my life. Like, when you hit it, it's louder than anyone I've ever heard. And some of them are major studios, you know. These guys they're like, I've never heard anyone as loud. And that's why, because I had to learn to sing behind the drums with no microphone. So thank you to Jeremy in heaven or the universe or in the stars or wherever you are right now. For that hardcore lesson. But, you know, finally I got a microphone and he let me sing a few songs into the mic as the lead singer. My first performance ever was with him and Sean. I think it was Midnight. We played like a high school talent show. I think it was us. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely midnight. I was in middle school. My brother was in high school. I got to go to the high school and play at the talent show. And it was like I said, Madison Square Garden, sold out, no difference to me. There were girls, there were adults, there were teachers. There was hundreds of people there. I couldn't believe it. And I got to sing 3 songs as the lead singer. One was like a Stryper song. You have to look up Stryper. If you missed the 80s, you're going to laugh your ass off. But back then, for some reason, we really liked Stryper. And they did a Battle Hymn of the Republic version that we did. And then we did another song by Stryper called, and I had a really high voice because I was a kid. And Stryper had a really high voice because that was his voice. But I got to sing some songs, and everyone flipped their shit. Everybody was like, who is this kid? And Jeremy's like, I told you, that's my little brother. He's a murderer. He can sing. And slowly Jeremy adapted. He was like, okay, Malan can really sing. So instead of trying to stifle me, he started putting me in front, letting me sing. Telling his friends, telling everyone. And sure enough, by the time I was about 15, I had made it to the front of the stage. From behind the drums, singing with no microphone, next I got to sing some songs with a microphone behind the drums, maybe 2 songs out of 10, to where finally he joined a real band that had, shows and gigs and flyers and everything. To me, they were like MTV, just because they had like cool boots and pants. And what were they called? Magic Madness. He joined them. They had a singer. I wanted to join the band so bad because they had like a demo, and I really was just begging him, like, there's got to be a way I can get in here. And he finally got me in. And that was the first time I was the actual lead singer in a band, I think. And we made the switch. In that band, that's when it switched. Jeremy was on the drums, and I was the singer. And Jeremy was a great drummer. That's the thing about Jeremy. He could play whatever you needed in the band, he could do it. If you needed a singer, he could do it. You needed a guitar player, he could do it. You needed a bass player, he could do that. You needed a drummer, he could do that. You need a piano player, he could do that. You want someone to play the violin, he could probably figure that out and be a violinist in a week. But that was the original path to becoming a singer. Drummer, backup singer, feature singer, then finally the lead singer. And that went on forever, man. The only time I wasn't a lead singer was in one band called The Bathroom, which me and some of my skateboard friends started a band ourselves. I think it was the first band I ever joined that Jeremy wasn't in. Like, I was always just kind of following him. But my friends and I started a punk cover band. We did stuff like Operation Ivy, Minor Threat covers. I don't remember, Black Flag. I can't remember what all we were doing. Although I do remember we threw in a few Metallica songs, and that got us almost booed off the stage at our punk rock show, our one and only show. But in that band, that's right when I had left the glamish, like glam rock band world, and I had heard some other music like punk rock and maybe, I don't remember what else, but I had decided that my voice was stupid, that it was glam rocky, and I didn't want to be a singer anymore. My friend had a better singing voice for punk rock than I did, and I no longer wanted to be a singer. I was embarrassed of my voice at this point. So I played guitar and bass. We switched instruments sometimes in that band. But other than that, I was always the singer after that, man. And that went on for 20 fucking years. See you in the future.